From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching our weekend special, The Long Form Story. Over the next 60 minutes, we take you through an in-depth understanding of all that shaped the week. From headline-making developments to the people behind them. We deep dive into three big news events and those who are behind the headlines. All this and much more as we take you through the three big news events of the week. Our first story this evening takes us into the heart of Bengaluru, a city that witnessed unthinkable tragedy. What was meant to be an evening of celebration turned into a night of horror. Thousands of fans, young, bright, full of life, gathered at the Chinnaswamy Stadium for a glimpse of their cricketing heroes. But joy quickly gave way to chaos. In the stampede that followed, 11 young lives were lost, crushed in front of their loved ones, who could do nothing but watch in helpless horror. Our second story tonight raises more questions than answers. A newlywed couple travelled to the serene hills of Meghalaya for their honeymoon, but only one would return. The husband found dead in a remote gorge, the wife missing without a trace. What really happened in the misty wilderness of Sora? A tragic accident or something more sinister? And finally, a triumph of vision. And the final story that we get to you tonight, the story of the Chenab Railway Bridge. A structure that defies terrain, symbolizes unity and stands as a testament to what's possibly when political will meets technological brilliance. Let me take you through the headlines we are tracking at this. Shocking video accessed by Republic Canada in the Chinnaswamy Stadium case. Video shows that an ambulance was blocked by the RCB and the stadium staff during the 4th June of Stampede. Footage shows the ambulance being obstructed until the team bus entered the stadium, contradicting the need for emergency services. Sources say former Pakistan police officer turned YouTuber revealed to have been in contact with several prominent Indian YouTubers, including Jasbir and Jyoti. More YouTubers allegedly linked to Pakistan's ISI handlers under lens. Security forces in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district neutralized 7 Maoists, including top Maoist terrorist Narasimha Chalam alias Sudhakar and Bhaskar alias Mailarapu Adelu, in a series of encounters over the 3 days. Election Commission refutes Congress parliamentarian Rahul Gandhi's allegations of rigging in the Maharashtra Assembly poll, states that the voting process was conducted with utmost transparency, with representatives from all parties present. Enforcement Directorate issues summons to Bollywood actor Dino Moria, requiring him to appear for questioning in connection with the Mithi River desilting scam. The actor, along with his brother Santino Moria, is set to record his statement before the Enforcement Directorate next week. The development follows a nearly 14-hour search conducted at his residence and other locations as part of the ongoing investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, they were young, full of dreams, sons, daughters, students, newlyweds, all under 30. They stepped out on 4th of June to celebrate a cricketing victory and never came back home. What should have been a joyful event turned into a complete nightmare at Bengaluru's Chinnaswamy Stadium, a deadly stampede claiming 11 innocent lives. In moments, celebrations turned into complete chaos, and families were left searching. Hospital corridors only to be handed silence and grief. The government failed. The organisers failed. And as the cricketing world moved on, 11 families were left completely broken, asking why their children had to pay the price for someone else's negligence. These are not just victims. These are stories that demand answers and accountability.
From celebrations from a victory to tears from a tragedy, Bengaluru witnessed its darkest hours on the 4th of June. Eleven youth, all under the age of 30, crushed in a stampede. Inside and outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Home to the Royal Challengers Bengaluru or RCB.
18 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಕಾದ ಮೇಲೆ
19-year-old Bhumai rushed to Cuban Park. An engineering student, he wanted to get a glimpse of his heroes with his friends. He never returned home.
ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 8 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅವನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಕ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಬೇರೆ ಆ ಥರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಹುಡುಗರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಅಮ್ಮಗೊಂದು 4 ಗಂಟೆ 3:15 ನಾನು ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಳು, ಅಮ್ಮ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮೆಟ್ರೋದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೋಗಿ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ನ ಫೋನ್ಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಫೋನ್ ಎತ್ತದೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆವಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಅಮ್ಮ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಯಾಳೆ, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಎತ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಐಸಿಯುನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಬೇಗ, ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಆಗೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೆನ್ನೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಏನೋ ಬಂದು ಹೋದ್ರು. ಅವರು ಇದನ್ನು ಕುರ್ಚಿ ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಂದರು. ಅವ್ರ ಪಾಡಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು 2 ಜನ ಹೋಗೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 5 ರಿಂದ 6 ಲಕ್ಷ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ನನ್ನ ದುಡ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಆಂಬುಲೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು ಅವರು.
Bhumik's family calls it a murder. Deaths that were allowed to happen by the state and organisers, including the RCB and Karnataka State Cricket Association.
ಇಷ್ಟ ಜನ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರು. ಆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ. ಕುಂಭಮೇಳ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮರ್ಡರ್. Our chief minister, our home minister has to take the responsibility of this.
Amrit Pai is distraught as he prepares for the funeral of his elder daughter.
ಚಿಕ್ಕಂದಿನಿಂದ ವಿದ್ಯಾವಂತೆ, SLCಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ತೆಗೆದು, PUCಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ತೆಗೆದು, CAಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಟೆಂಪ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸಾಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. 21 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ CA ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಎಳೆಯ ಪ್ರಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಈ ವಿಧಿಯಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನಂತ ನಮಗೂ ಕನಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಣಿಸಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು. ನಾವು ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟದಿಂದ ಒಂದೊತ್ತು ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಯಿತು ನಮಗೆ. ಆದರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿ ಕಲಿಸಿದ್ದು ಈ ಥರ ಆಯ್ತಂತ ಭಾಳ ದುಃಖ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆದರೂ ನನಗೆ ಈ TV ಯಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕಂಡು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಫೋನ್ ಎತ್ತಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Akshata had recently married. Her death has left two families in grief. A first-year student of Bengaluru Presidency College, Manoj Devaraju, was only 18-year-old and the only son of his family.
ಹಿಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಗರಡ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಂದ ಬರಲೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲಣ್ಣ ಯಾರಣ್ಣ ನಮಗೆ ದಿಕ್ಕೋ ಇರೋನು ಮಗ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದ ಅಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಕೊಡಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಾರೋ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಿದ್ದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾಡ ಇನ್ನು ಬರಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು ಮಾತು ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನಣ್ಣ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾರು ತಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನನಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಗುನ ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಬೇಕು ನನಗೆ ಯಾರು ತಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ನನ್ನ ಮಗುನ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಹಾಳಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡೋಣ ನಮ್ಮಂಥವ್ರು ಗೋಳು ತೊಡ್ತಂಗಿರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಗುಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡ ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ
Millions of questions, but no one to answer them.
ಏನು ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಗ ಸರ್ ಹೊಂಟೋದಿಂದ ವಿಂದಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ರೆಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕೆ ಇದ್ದ ಮಗ ಹೊಂಟೋದ ಸರ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಸರ್ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಗಂಡ ಹೆಂಡ್ತಿ ಇಬ್ಬರೆಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಓದಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಸರ್ ನಾವನ್ನ ಈಗ ಅವನೇ ಇಲ್ಲಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಯಾರು ಮಗ ಅಂತ ಕರೀಲಿ ಸರ್ ನಾನು 2:30 ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಸರ್ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎದ್ದು ಹೋದ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಕಣಪ್ಪ ನಾನು ಏನು ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವನು ಏನಾರು ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಕಳ್ಸೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮುನ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಕಳಿಸ್ದೆ ಹಿಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸೋ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರು ಸರ್ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಸರ್ ನಾನು 6 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ 6 ಗಂಟೆಲಿ ಟಿ ವಿಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟದೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಅವಾಗ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ನು ಫೋನು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಫೋನ್ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಕೆ ಅವಲೇ ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಇದು ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತು ಸರ್ ನಮಗೆ ಏನೋ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗೈತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವಲೇ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕಾಲು ತುಳ್ತಲ್ಲ ಏನೋ ಸಿಗಾಕಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿರ್ಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡೋಗಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೋರಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ಕೆ ತಿರ್ಗಿ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಯಾರು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಮೊಬೈಲು ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರು ಕರೆದ್ರು ಬನ್ನಿ ಅವ್ರ ತಂದೆ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಡೆತ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಹುಷಾರಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ತಲೆ ಸುತ್ತ ಬಂದೈತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ವಾರ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ ಡೆತ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ ತಿರ್ಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ನು ಡೆತ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ದು ನನಗೆ ನೇರ ಹೋರಾಣ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಸರ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನೇರ ಹೋರ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮುನ್ನೆಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು ಏನು ಸರ್ ನೆನ್ನೆ ಗೆದ್ದು ಇವತ್ತಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು 1 ವಾರ 15 ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ
19-year-old BTech student Chinmay's life was cut short in the stampede. Her father stands numb and helpless before the lifeless body of his young daughter. Chinmay rushed to the Chinnaswamy stadium only because her college friends were going. Her family blames the state government, police and RCB.
My question with the nation to you and Arnab, what for the celebration is required first of all? Whether the RCB is a national team, whether the RCB is a state team, this is only a club team. For this club team, this much of height, what for? This is showing the show of strength of the government. I can add one more thing, to their Pancha guarantee, or guarantee that the free passes to the KSA stadium. Why those people are allowed the free passes? Having known that only the strength is 40,000 capacity, the 3 lakh public is waiting outside, roaring outside to come inside. What made them to give the free passes? There is no fire emergency. There is no medical emergency. There is no security. Nothing is there. Only the very much chaos. Lalbagh metro station gate is closed. Only 2 gates are open for the 3 lakh public.
26-year-old Purachandra was in Bengaluru on the Stampede day to meet a prospective bride. He headed to the Chinnaswamy stadium after the meeting and did not make it back alive.
ಸರ್ ಪೂರ್ಣಚಂದ್ರರು ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾರಿ ಹುಚ್ಚು. ಅವ್ರೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಈ ಊರಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದರು ಈ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಹುಚ್ಚಿಂದ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದು, ಸಂಭ್ರಮ ನೋಡೋಕ್ಕೋಗಿ ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಇನ್ಯಾವ ಇದು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಭಾರಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹುಡುಗ, BE ಮಾಡಿದ ಸಿವಿಲ್ಲು. ಸರ್ ಇವು ಇಡೀ ಊರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅವನ ಹೆಸರು, ಅವನಿದು ಇಡೀ ತಾಲೂಕಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹುಡುಗ, ಭಾರಿ ಶ್ರಮಪಟ್ಟು ಓದಿ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಹೆಸರು ತಂದು ಈ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರಿ ಹುಚ್ಚು ಅವನಿಗೆ. ಈಗ ಇವ್ರು ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಓದಿ ಇವನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸರ್. ಇವನು ಗದ್ದೆ ಕೆಲಸನೂ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾರಿ ಶ್ರಮಜೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ತೀರ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸರ್. ಅವನು ಭಾರಿ ಬ್ಲೇನ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗು. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲೇ 4:45 ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗ ಸರ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿಗೆ, ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಅವನು ಬತ್ತಾನ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ಅಡುಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು. ನಮಗೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಟಿವಿಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಇದು ನೋಡೋಕೆ, ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗೋದು ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇವನು.
"25-year-old Sahana worked at Bosch in Bengaluru. The young engineer had recently secured a job.
ಬಾಷ್ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಚಾನಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ದುರಂತ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ಈ ದುರಂತದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂತಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದನ್ನು ಮುನ್ನೆಚ್ಚರಿಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅಟ್ ಎ ಟೈಮ್ 2 ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಂತ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಊಹಿಸ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದ ಮುಂದೆ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಜನ ಸೇರಿದ್ದು. ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಅಂತಂದರೆ
ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮರಳೆ ಯಾಕೆ
A die-hard fan of cricketer Virat Kohli's 17-year-old Shivalinga had just cleared his Class 10th board exams. He left home to collect his transfer certificate, but took a small detour to catch a glimpse of his favorite cricket star. Shivalinga's mother, broken, inconsolable, now asks, what did Kohli give him in return?
ತಂದು ಮನೆಗೆ ಇಟ್ಟು ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಒಂದು 11 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನೋಡಿದವ್ರಪ್ಪ ಇದನ್ನಂತ ಮನೆಯಾಗ ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದ. ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರಪ್ಪ ಹೋಗೋಣ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು, ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಣ. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಪೂರ್ತಿ 6 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಯಜಮಾನ ಫೋನ್ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ರಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಫೋನ್ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ರು, ನನ್ನ ಮಗ ಎತ್ತದಿಲ್ರಿ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಅಂತಿದ್ರು. ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ಯದ್ರಿ ಹೇಳಂದ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಬರ್ರಿ, ನೀವು ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡಮ್ಮ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡೌಟ್ ಬಂತಮ್ಮ ನಮಗೂ. ವಿರಾಟ್ ಕೊಹ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಂತ್ರಿ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನಿಗೆ.
11 young lives sacrificed as they tried to celebrate 11 men who won a cup. Their celebrations continued even after the stampede. But for the families of the 11 young men and women, it's a lifetime of suffering. Because politicians wanted few extra votes, cricketers wanted to rush back home, and the RCB wanted to make a quick buck. It's a crime that the city will never forgive or forget.
"11 lives were lost, and perhaps many would be forgotten. But ladies and gentlemen, urging each one of you that perhaps let's not undermine the lives that have been lost. Tonight on the long form story, I'm joined by Kiran Bedi. All of us have referred to her as the Iron Lady. And tonight the reason why we invited Ms. Kiran Bedi is because of her inspiring role the role that she played as an IPS officer. Of course, she's donned several hats. Ms. Kiran Bedi, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Like always, there are scapegoats in an incident like this. This time, the scapegoat was the Bengaluru Police Commissioner, whom I'm given to understand did actually put his foot down, did not allow this event to take place, but eventually had to succumb. And finally, he's been made the scapegoat.
Look, I am speaking through the experience of managing several law and order situations during my tenure in the grassroots policing. Therefore, my experience coming from that background. And as I've thought over your event, here are the list of points which have come back to my mind. Number one, and maybe the media could do its investigative reporting as well, before the Commission of Inquiry gives you a report which may take months, So investigative reporting can go do the following. Number one, let's get the sequence of events, number one. Second, let's find out what was the application from the organizers. What is the application? What is the kind of information they gave? What was the content? Because the content, what was the purpose? So they've asked because this has to be given by the licensing authority. Third, does the Bangalore Policing Commissioner has the licensing authority, or is it under civil administration? I'm not aware. Like in Delhi Police, it is with the police headquarters. In Karnataka or in Bengaluru, whether it is with the police, I don't know. So number one, and then we need to know what was the response of the licensing authority, because no such event of this scale, even small scale, can be without the license authority sanctioning it. Then comes conditions of the licensing, whether the police have accepted it and what kind of conditions did they like. Did they put in certain conditions? Let's find out, did the police do its job or licensing authority gave them the conditions? Then comes the coordination. Because this is not just people together. It has the municipality also with it. You need civic services, you need the fire brigade, you need the home guards, you need the civil defense, you need sanitary services, you need emergency services, you need disaster management, you need all this. So this brings the municipality together and many other civic services. So what kind of coordinations were here? That is why it is now organizers versus the management. Now, management is civil administration and police is a part of that administration. So where were the coordinations held? Who coordinated? Who chaired? What were the minutes of the meeting? Did any apprehensions come? Who were participating? Who were chairing these minutes of the meeting? And if the commissioner has expressed his apprehension of whatever you are saying, is it somewhere on record? Who did he express his apprehension to? Did he call on the political leadership? Did he call on this bureaucratic leadership, which is the chief secretary, which is the home secretary? All these, you see, these are very important positions of coordination. Now they have a role to play. So what kind of role did they play? Therefore, I've suggested that even if you ask a report from the chief secretary, was the chief secretary also not responsible to coordinate an event of such a magnitude where all departments are almost involved, as I said, and they don't report to the police? Police cannot dictate municipal services to come, but it is the chief secretary, because all other departments, he is the coordination head. Then what kind of briefings have held? Because once you decide on an event, what kind of briefings have been, briefing, online briefing, you never know. So what kind of briefings have been held? What kind of housekeeping announcements were made? Once the hall is, the auditorium is full, housekeeping announcements, stick to your these, follow the exit, these are the exit doors, these are the services, housekeeping announcements by whom? It is the job of the organizers and the police together. And even the municipal services. So what kind of housekeeping announcement? You have a small event also and you say, first, please listen to the housekeeping. So what kind of housekeeping announcements? Were they listed out? Right. Were they part of the management of planning? Then comes when the force was demanded, that we need so many companies of force. How was the assessment made? How was the deployment made? Which sector they went to? Then what are police arrangements? Then Where's the deployment? I was hearing ambulances were stuck. Did the police arrangement include location of ambulances and the passage of the ambulances? Because you're having thousands of people there. And it was anticipated that this is a game of love of everybody. Anybody and everybody would love to come. So I'm talking about the key is coordination. The key is assessment. Who held the coordination? So I think it's a very important, this is a very classic case where administration is on one side and the authority, the management of the cricket association, etc., is on the other side. What kind of coordination happened between them? Because I remember whenever we made police arrangements, we used to involve the organizer in making them understand their responsibility in housekeeping, etc. But in fact, we used to even say raise civil security and deploy them. Civil security, and they also are supposed to pay. But remember, my friend, they're supposed to pay because it's a private profit event. Did they pay? Have they made advance payments? Did they make any check? Because this money is supposed to go to a police welfare fund. So these are the questions.
I just want to take a quick question from you because I'm going to run out of time. But I need to ask you this. Enough is enough. Every time an incident of this nature happens, we find one scapegoat, and this time it was the Bengaluru Police Commissioner, whatever may be the coordination. But Ms. Bedi, the question here is that, can this be stopped? Because you cannot always end up by simply saying that, look here, the police was really responsible and the political leadership has no role to play whatsoever. This is a classic example of how perhaps the political leadership had an important role to play.
Are people willing to learn? There's an institutional memory of law and order. There's a lot of inquiries of the past, and institutional memory indicates the roadmap for such law and order arrangements. Do they consult them? Question is coordination. The people change, but do they consult the rule book? And number two, remember, many events are unique. So some are uniquely different, and some can have institutional memory, and you have to also innovate. So therefore, the question is, are the key coordinators, starting the civil coordination is the chief secretary, the police coordinator is the DGP, the political coordinator is the chief minister with the home ministry. So because this event is huge, and these are the coordinating contact points which, to my mind, have all shown mass deficiency. Therefore, if you, by the time the inquiry report comes, you'll see what was the role of the DGP, the Commissioner of Police, obviously. But you have picked up Police Commissioner only out of it. Whereas he's a part of the whole. He's a part of the whole, but a key part. But there are many keys. And there is a Chief Secretary, there's a Chief Minister, there's a Home Minister, there's a DGP, there is organisers, they are all of them. So why pick up? Issue has come in because you picked up only the police commissioner. I think either pick up whole or don't pick him up. Why have you picked up only one person? He's only one part of the whole. He's only one nut in the bolt, one nut. But there are many others in the machinery, which is called the civil administration. In the civil, it's headed by the political leadership, it's headed by the civil services, it's headed by the DGP. These are the kind of leadership. To my mind, this is a classic case where this kind of leadership has not performed the roles of coordination which it ought to have performed.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Bedi, for putting this into perspective. And certainly, cherry picking isn't the answer to this entire issue.
Thank you.
Former Karnataka Chief Minister Basav Bumai joins us on the long form tonight. Mr. Bumai, I want to straight away begin by asking you, scapegoats have been identified, they have been booked, they have been put behind bars. But do you believe that the real culprit is still roaming freely?
See, the main culprits, be it RCB or its event manager, event managing team of DNA or KSCSA, nobody has been booked or arrested. The main, the people who have got stakes, who is the owner of RCB, no questions asked. He is not even questioned, he is not even touched.
Why so? Do you believe that there is some sort of a protection that has been extended, or this is some sort of a fixed match? Do you believe it's a fixed match because one way there's an inquiry that is underway, there is no one from the government who has basically been booked because the government has washed its hands away? Do you believe that this is a complete fixed match?
Yeah. See, the government is in all out to protect itself and his ministers and everybody. Therefore, the main people who are to be booked are getting scot-free. This government is totally now not only disturbed, they are unable to take a proper decision. Every day the decisions are changing. First they said that there will be magistratal inquiry. Then the second day they came and said that there will be judicial inquiry. Third, they said CID inquiry. Multi-agents, but multi-people, multi-agencies are inquiring, and in this melee, the main people are getting scot-free. And there are scapegoats like Commissioner of Police, who had said that you should not do it immediately.
The other thing that emerges, Mr. Bumai, is that what happened on 4th of June is a result of the infighting within the Congress party. You had DK Shivkumar projecting himself as the man who is celebrating on behalf of the entire state. The Chief Minister had a function at the Vidhan Saudha, which almost appeared to be a private event. Many are saying that the RCB perhaps is also, the management is being protected because there is certain political links. Is there any political link between the RCB management and a few political parties, or perhaps a few political leaders in Karnataka? Is there a direct link?
See, you are absolutely right. It's a outcome of a severe competition which has been taking place not only in this event, every event between CM and Deputy CM. They want to be one up against each other. And in that competition, Mr. Shivkumar went to the airport. So there was nothing for the Chief Minister. So they arranged the meeting in front of the grand steps of Vidhan Saudha without any preparation. And certainly because RCB has obliged both of them, so there must be some kind of a, if not a direct connection, there must be some kind of a relations which has helped these people to organize in this way, where there was no proper security and no safety measures, and they didn't care for the people's life. They went on with the celebrations. The way the politicians went on with the celebration shows that there has to be.
But the Deputy Chief Minister says that he had communicated to the franchisee and the program was cut short.
That has to be inquired actually.
And
my demand is the inquiry should not be. One second. My demand is all this inquiry which drama is going on, it is in the gates of KCA. It is not in the gates of KCA. It is the case is behind the scene. Those who are involved, and why in such a hurry the event was done at the behest of RCB. Why the government agreed? Why they didn't stop it? Why didn't they expect so much of people?
Okay.
So the way it is planned, the nexus between politician and the organizers, including RCB, has to be inquired.
One final question before I let you go, Mr. Bumai. Is there any truth to multiple reports that are now doing the rounds that a top political leader in the state of Karnataka is directly linked with the management of RCB, or perhaps there are certain stakes in RCB and that is the reason why there is this entire protection that has been extended and they've identified certain scapegoats?
Look here, the way the incidents have rolled out and the way nothing was planned and everything was planned in the last moment, and both RCB and one part of the government or the other were working on it. So there has to be some nexus, there has to be some communication, there has to be some pressure, and that has to be inquired. That is the main demand.
Well, thank you very much, Mr.
So
Bumai.
that in further, at least, we will not know that we should know the real culprit who is behind the scene.
Let me now take you to the big story coming in from the state of Meghalaya. They were in love, just married, and full of dreams. Raja and Sonam Raghuvanshi were beginning their journey as husband and wife. A new chapter, a new life. But what began as a picture-perfect gateway quickly spiraled into a chilling mystery. On 2nd of June, Raja's bruised and lifeless body was found deep inside a remote gorge. Sonam had vanished. No screams, no witnesses, no answers. Even as drones scanned the thick forest of Sora and search teams braved the harsh terrain, one question continues to echo louder with each passing day. Where is Sonam Raghuvanshi? This isn't just a story of a missing person. It's the unraveling of a haunting mystery. And in fact, we've gone deep inside to get you this very story to find out what really happened. Take a look, and then we are also going to be joined by the Tourism Minister of the state of Meghalaya, Mr. Paul Lindo.
In the heart of Indore, Madhya Pradesh, a newlywed couple was preparing to set off on a picture-perfect honeymoon. For Raja and Sonam Raghuvanshi, it was meant to be the first of many adventures together as husband and wife. The wedding was a celebration that spanned days, a joyful union of two families, sealed with vows meant to last a lifetime. But the once joyful home now sits in silence. The laughter has faded, replaced by a heavy stillness. The family mourns the unimaginable loss of Raja and clings to hope for just a glimpse of Sonam. This is the story of how a picture-perfect escape for the Raghuvanshis took a dark and tragic turn. The couple travelled over 2,300 kilometers from Indore to Shillong to camp in Sora, merely 80 kilometers away from the capital city. Sora, also known as Cherrapunji, a breathtaking hill destination in Meghalaya, where misty cliffs meet cascading waterfalls, where valleys stretch as far as the eye can see.
We are here at For Sonam waterfalls. You can see the place is very quiet and has a deserted look because the place has been closed down for tourists for over a year now. You can see the shops all closed, but interestingly, how did Sonam and Raja reach to this place at a very peak of a monsoon, that too with a scooty?
On their honeymoon, Raja and Sonam checked into a hotel in Shillong. This CCTV footage is the last concrete evidence establishing their whereabouts. 2 days later, the couple journeyed deeper into the highlands of Sora. But the trip to the mountains took a sinister turn sooner than later. On June 2nd, Raja Raghuvanshi's lifeless body was discovered at the base of a remote gorge, bruised, battered and far from help. But Sonam was gone, without a sound, without a trace.
पुलिस अधीक्षक शिलांग से चर्चा हुई है, जिसमें उन्होंने ये स्पष्ट किया है कि अभी भी फीमेल की सर्चिंग जारी है और अभी तक उसमें कोई क्लू मिला नहीं है। एक बैग मिला था, लेकिन उसको भी संभवतः परिजनों ने नकार दिया है।
And now, a 17-member NDRF team is assisting the Meghalaya Police to comb the forest of Sora to gather circumstantial evidence and put together the missing pieces of this mystery. Their search has led them to recover a black and red raincoat, stained and wet, and a scooter believed to have been used by the Raghuvanshis during their travel. A special investigation team has been roped to fast-track the investigation. One question echoes louder each day: where is Sonam Raghuvanshi? Back home, the family looks for answers as they light the funeral pyre of Raja Raghuvanshi and hold on to his memories.
ऊपर है? हाँ, मैंने के आ गए नीचे? कहाँ पे हो तुम? ऊपर पहाड़ पे के नीचे?
आप जाके पहुंचा ऊपर में।
रात को नीचे रुके थे?
हाँ।
कुछ खाने का मिला कि नहीं मिला?
केले खा लिया मैं।
क्या खा लिए?
अरे अभी केले खा रहा हूँ, अभी हाल पहुंचा हूँ। अब यहाँ से निकलूंगा।
And somewhere, a part of them still believes Sonam will come.
अभी नहीं हुआ, बस हम चढ़ाई कर रहे हैं। हम ऊपर चढ़ गए, फिर फोन लगाते हैं।
और आज तो उपास होगा फिर?
मेरा तो उपास है ना, मेरे को 2-3 बार बोल दिया। मैंने मैं घूमने के चक्कर में अपनी 11 थोड़ी तोड़ूंगी।
वही तो तेरी, मैं अभी खरियार बना रही तो मेरे को एकदम से याद आ गई कि आज तो मेरे बहू का उपास बापे। हाँ तो कहीं दूध लस्सी जो भी मिल रहा हो उपास का सामान वो खा लो।
अब पहले ऊपर तो चढ़े, जंगल में है, यहाँ से आज कुछ मिलेगा।
बाप रे। मैंने कही थी कुछ ड्राई फ्रूट रख के ले जाओ, तो बोले हाँ क्या करेंगे हम, दो
ये जंगल है, पता है, घोर जंगल है, एकदम खड़ी चढ़ाई है। चढ़ना मतलब उतरना भी खड़ा ही है और चढ़ना भी खड़ा ही है।
हम इस समय इंदौर के सहकार नगर पहुंच चुके हैं, जहां पर रहने वाले राजा रघुवंशी और सोनम की 11 मई को शादी हुई थी और 20 मई को वो हनीमून के लिए निकले थे, लेकिन उनके घर की खुशियां मातम में बदल गईं। फिलहाल जो राजा रघुवंशी है, उनकी 11 दिन बाद डेड बॉडी मिली और सोनम अभी भी लापता है। ये सहकार नगर है, जहां पर आप देखिए लोग, जितने भी मोहल्ले के लोग हैं सभी दुखी हैं। यहाँ पर मोहल्ले में सन्नाटा जैसा हालात जो हैं बने हुए हैं और ये राजा रघुवंशी का घर है। और घर पे आप देखिए सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि जो परिवार लगातार आवाज उठा रहा है, उन्होंने ये मांग की है, जो यहाँ पर एक बैनर लगाया उसे आप देखेंगे, उससे इनके दुख की और इनकी बैनर के जरिए की गई मांग को दर्शाता हुआ यह है, जिसमें लिखा है केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार से राजा की आत्मा करे पुकार, मैं मरा नहीं मुझे मारा गया है।
शादी करी मैंने और दोनों बच्चे घूमने का, हनीमून मनाने का, वहाँ के जाने बाद 23 सारी बात, फिर बातचीत मोबाइल बोले वो हो गया, वहाँ से नेटवर्क नहीं मिल रहा है, वहाँ की सरकार बोलती है। और उनने बोला कि नहीं यहाँ नेटवर्क नहीं मिलता पापा बोले। उसके बाद फिर कोई बातचीत नहीं हुई और मुझे लगता है कि वहाँ पर वो उसको मार के फेंक दिया है। और उसके बाद बहू का ये पता नहीं, सोनम का पता नहीं है। अभी तक वहाँ की सरकार ने मेरी बहू का कोई पता नहीं लगा पा रहा है। बेटे की तो लाश यहाँ आ चुकी है, अब मेरी बहू का पता नहीं वहाँ क्या है, क्या हाल है, कुछ नहीं। मुझे लगता है वहाँ के किसी ने उनको मार के फेंक दिया।
तो बस यही है कि उसको कैसे न कैसे करके ढूंढ के अपने देश में ले आओ। वो कहाँ पे है, किस हाल में है, कितनी परेशान होगी, उसके साथ क्या हुआ होगा, कैसी है, क्या पता वो राजा की तरह मिलती कि और किस हाल में मिलती। मेरे को बस यही
ये जो न्यूज़ खबर आई है, इससे पूरा इंदौर, हमारी पूरी कॉलोनी सब पूरा एकदम सुनसान है और बहुत दुखी भी है, क्योंकि ये जो वाक़या हुआ है, ये एक तो ऐसा वाक़या पहले कभी हिंदुस्तान में नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन इसको देख करके सभी लोग बहुत चिंतित हैं और परेशान हैं। हमने बारात भी देखी, बारात ज्वाइन भी करी, उनके शादी का पूरा समारोह हमने अटेंड किया हुआ है और अर्थी भी देखी।
For Raja's grieving family, the silence is louder than ever. They believe this was no accident, but a case of robbery and murder. With dwindling hope, they now look at the Central Bureau of Investigation, holding on to one final wish: justice. For Sonam Raghuvanshi's family, every day has been waking nightmare. Her father Devi Singh believes she has been kidnapped and is being held hostage, not lost, not gone, but trapped somewhere, waiting to be rescued.
इस समय मैं मौजूद हूँ सोनम रघुवंशी के घर में। उनके माता पिता हमारे साथ हैं और दोनों काफ़ी दुखी भी हैं, उदास भी हैं। हालांकि उन्हें उम्मीद है कि अभी भी अगर सरकार संज्ञान ले तो उनकी जो बेटी है, जो 23 मई से लापता है, वो मिल सके।
जैसे मेरे हाथ से बच्चा निकल गया, राजा एक बच्चे ही समझो, मैंने वो बच्ची देके बच्चा लिया था, तो जब मेरे हाथ से बच्चा निकल गया तो मेरी बच्ची भी निकल सकती है। वो बच्ची का कोई पता नहीं चल रहा कहाँ है कहाँ नहीं है। अगर खाईन में होती तो आज पुलिस वाले इतने दिनों से ढूंढ रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं तो उसका पता होता ना। जैसे राजा का पता लगा, जैसे बच्ची का ही पता लगता।
और ये तो ढूंढ रहे जंगल में नहीं मिलेगी, वो तो इधर उधर का किडनैप करके रख रखी है उसको, तो उसकी जांच जल्दी से जल्दी करवाएं। ऐसी जांच करवाए, वो तो ढूंढ रहे कि कहीं पड़ी मिल जाएगी तो उठा के दे देंगे यहाँ से इधर उधर से, लेकिन कहीं घरों में कहीं भी है उसकी जांच करवा के और जल्दी से जल्दी ढूंढ के लाए। मेरी बेटी ने, जैसा बेटा चला गया ऐसी बेटी चली जाएगी, वो भी बेटा ही था मेरा।
Sonam's brother Govind has been wandering the streets of Shillong since May 24th, refusing to give up. He says the police are searching for a body, but he is searching for his sister, alive, and begs them to look with hope, not despair.
एक्चुअली यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना कि ये डेड बॉडी ढूंढ रहे हैं काफ़ी समय से, जो कि राजा की डेड बॉडी 10 दिन में मिल चुकी है। इनने काफ़ी समय लगाया डेड बॉडी ढूंढने में भी, और अभी मुझे एक रिक्वेस्ट करना है यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट से और कि सीएम साहब से कि यहाँ पर जो ये डेड बॉडी ढूंढ रहे हैं सोनम रघुवंशी की, वो एक्चुअली मुझे ऐसा लगता है, क्योंकि मैं सगा भाई हूँ, मुझे अभी फीलिंग्स आ रहा है कि वो जिंदा है और उसको जिंदा होने के हिसाब से ढूंढे।
2 lives went up that hill. Only one came back lifeless. The other vanished without a trace. Was it fate? Was it foul play? One mystery, many questions.
Joining us tonight on the long form is Minister Paul Lindo. But Paul, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. Let me straight away begin by asking you, tonight you're joining perhaps not for the best news coming in from Meghalaya. And it is quite disturbing as to what's really happened. The family members are completely distraught. The reason why I brought you tonight was to directly speak to the family members as to whether at all has the Meghalaya Police been able to find out the motive. Is this a clear-cut case of murder?
The state of Meghalaya has been an island of peace, and Cherrapunji happens to not only be the capital of Meghalaya, but the oldest capital town in northeast India. What is really intriguing to us is that this is the first ever incident where tourists have been harmed. There has not been a single case of even assault on tourists for the past many decades. Therefore, this is a one-off incident, but I can assure you that we will go to the bottom of the case. It is premature for me to ascribe motive, but all I can say is that we will leave no stone unturned.
Mr. Paul Lindo, having come from Shillong myself, I can perhaps say this, that it comes across as a shocking incident. But having said that, our heart also goes to the family members who's lost their loved one. Hence, I want to ask you this, that the families are now demanding that a Central Bureau of Investigation should be carried out. What is it that you can tell them? Because they are still looking for answers. There are several questions that remains unanswered at this point in time as to what really happened. Have you been able to establish the timeline from the very moment they landed in Meghalaya and thereafter decided to go to Sora?
I can assure you that the Meghalaya Police is one of the most efficient police forces in the country. All I can say is that the difficult terrain, the rainy conditions, the fact that it was raining cats and dogs for several days together slowed down the investigation. But that does not mean that we will not take this case to its logical end. As far as inviting a CBI probe, I think that it is too premature at this stage, because we have already constituted the special investigation team, and we have, the fact that each day we are making progress, however slow, but we are inching close towards solving this case. If, and I say this, it's capital if, the state police is not in a position to really establish what happened and pinpoint to who was responsible behind this act of homicide, then other options are also open.
One final question before I let you go, because a lot has been spoken about it. A lot is now doing the rounds on social media. And as a responsible media house, I want to take this opportunity by asking you, have you been able to understand what really happened? Because it's a murder mystery that remains completely unresolved. But is there some clarity as to what really happened from the time that they had gone to that homestay in Sora? Is there any clarity?
You see, the only clear point here is that they establish links to get their scooty to take them to that particular destination. And if it was a case of robbery, attempted robbery, why would it push the criminals to go to the extent of slitting the throat of Raja? It's intriguing. I mean, one would do that only when one has a certain amount of vengeance, hate against the person. But if it were to be just criminal elements, they would have overpowered the victim, robbed him, and then go about their other business. But in this particular case, there seems to be a motive far bigger than the act of overpowering the couple and robbing them of their valuables. So it's certainly still very intriguing, but I can assure you we have made all efforts. We are continuing those efforts.
Before we take you through the final story, let me also take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Shocking video accessed by Republic Canada in the Chinnaswamy Stadium case. Video shows that an ambulance was blocked by the RCB and stadium staff during the 4th June Stampede. Sources say former Pakistan police officer turned YouTuber revealed to have been in contact with several prominent Indian YouTubers including Jasbir and Jyoti. More YouTubers allegedly linked to Pakistan's ISI handlers under lens. Security forces in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district neutralized 7 Maoists, including top Maoist terrorist Narasimha Chalam, alias Sudhakar and Bhaskar, in a series of encounters over 3 days. Election Commission refutes Congress parliamentarian Rahul Gandhi's allegations of rigging in the Maharashtra Assembly polls, states that the voting process was conducted with utmost transparency with representatives from all parties present. Enforcement Directorate issues summons to Bollywood actor Dino Moria, requiring him to appear for questioning in connection with the Miti River desilting scam. The actor, along with his brother Santino Moria, is set to record his statement before the Enforcement Directorate next week. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a story 126 years in making. A tale of vision, of delay, and finally of triumph. From plans drawn up in colonial Kolkata in 1899 to the world's highest railway bridge now standing tall over the roaring Chenab. This isn't just infrastructure. It is India's resolve cast in iron. At 359 meters above the riverbed, taller than the Eiffel Tower, the Chenab railway bridge is more than an engineering marvel. It's a symbol of unity, of access, and of what is possible when political will, with national ambition and technological excellence comes together. So tonight, we bring you the story of the Train to Kashmir, a journey through history, hope, and Himalayan heights. A story of steel, spirit, and sovereignty. Watch this, and then the big newsmaker tonight. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav joins me and breaks it down as to how this feat was achieved. "126 years ago, a Maharaja dared to dream of a railway that would pierce through mountains, cut across rivers, and connect Kashmir to the rest of the country. It was 31st of January 1899. Maharaja Pratap Singh, the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir, huddled with his council. On their agenda was planned to lay railway tracks from Jammu to the valley. An engineer was dispatched, maps drawn, 4 routes charted, 37 stations identified, a vision too bold for its time. But the dream was derailed by high cost. The Maharaja's death in 1925 stalled the project until now. For high above the roaring Chenab River stands world's highest railway bridge, Kashmir's newest lifeline. The Chenab Bridge, a global benchmark today of rail engineering, now connects regions that were once unreachable. When the skies were too costly, roads too fickle, Kashmir stood still, cut off and cornered. But with this engineering marvel, the valley is on fast track.
अब लोग चिनाब ब्रिज के जरिए कश्मीर देखने तो जाएंगे ही, ये ब्रिज भी अपने आप में एक आकर्षक टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन बनेगा.
Kashmir to Kanyakumari is now a reality. 272 kilometers rail line, 38 tunnels, 927 bridges now cut through Shivalinga and Pir Panjal ranges.
मां भारती का वर्णन करते हुए हम श्रद्धा भाव से कहते आए हैं, कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी, ये अब रेलवे नेटवर्क के लिए भी हकीकत बन गया है।
The rail map of Jammu and Kashmir has been redrawn with precision and purpose. For decades, Kashmir was plagued with terrorism. Air travel was expensive, roads were weather dependent, trade suffered. But with the completion of this engineering marvel, Kashmir is now connected to the country.
Right now we are at the Chenab Bridge. Here you will see the tricolors there, and the people, they all have come up to see this because it is 359 meters down, and the people, they are really happy. Sir, आप फैमिली के साथ आए हैं, बिल्कुल देख रहे हैं, कितने अच्छा लग रहा है? बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। जहाँ ये सरकार की कमिटमेंट है, वहीं इंजीनियरिंग का मावल है, इंजीनियर्स की कमाल है जो उन्होंने कर दिखाया है। आप मुझे बताइए, आपको कैसा लग रहा है?
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है और एक्साइटेड भी फील हो रहा है। It's like one in a lifetime experience, and I'm very thankful to be in it.
So you're proud of the engineers who have done this?
Yes, very. They have put their skill into mine, and such a good and beautiful thing they have made.
From Katra to Srinagar, that's the journey the Vande Bharat Express will now make possible. Distance between the two major tourist destinations will be cut short to 3 hours. This isn't just a rail project. It's a turning point for tourism, trade, and the very narrative of Kashmir.
Kashmir to Kanyakumari rail link is now a reality, and right now we are outside the Vande Bharat that has travelled from Jammu to Kashmir. This project has been a long pending project that has now been inaugurated by the Prime Minister, and now the train has reached from Jammu to Kashmir, and this is the first train that is reaching Kashmir.
Right now we are travelling in the cab of one of the Vande Bharat Express. It has been designed on the pattern of aircraft.
Sir, we are on the mighty Chenab Bridge. Would you like to explain on this, that because yes, this is something we all have seen?
Of course, this Chenab Bridge is the engineering marvel of our country, made by Indian engineers, made by our team, and now our train is passing through. This has increased the reputation of our country many folds.
This bridge is more than just steel and concrete. It is the result of years of engineering precision, political will, and the dreams of people who have waited for decades to be connected to the rest of the country. A track for economic growth.
इसकी इनॉग्रेशन के साथ ही यहाँ पर टूरिज्म के नए होराइजन खुलेंगे, जो हमें लगता है आज की डेट में जहाज में अगर आप जाते भी हैं तो आपको सीनिक ब्यूटी नहीं मिलती। इसमें तो आपको रास्ते में जो सीनिक ब्यूटी मिलने वाली है वो तो स्विट्जरलैंड से ऊपर होगी, और मैं समझता हूँ इससे मेजर बूस्ट मिलेगा और टूरिज्म आने वाले दिनों में J&K में मेजर बूस्ट लेके आएगा, ऐसी हमारी सोच।
इससे हमें बहुत आने वाले दिनों में फ़ायदा मिलेगा। ट्रेन चलने से हमें बहुत फ़ायदा, लोग आते हैं ब्रिज देखने के लिए आते हैं, इधर काफ़ी लोग बाहर से आते हैं। हाँ सर, क्यों नहीं मिलेगी, इधर बेरोजगारी है इधर बिल्कुल, तो अभी ट्रेन चलने से लोकल को भी फ़ायदा मिलेगा।
मैं स्पेशली प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया को थैंक्स करना चाहते हैं जो उन्होंने इतना बड़ा जो प्रोग्राम किया। अगर पहले हमें श्रीनगर जाना होता तो बाय पत्नीटॉप वगैरह जाते थे, वहाँ पे लगभग हमें कई बार तो 12-13 घंटे लग जाते थे जाने में। बियर एज आज की डेट में अगर हमें जाना हो तो हम विदिन 2 आवर्स ये डिस्टेंस।
बहुत अच्छा सफ़र लग रहा है, जैसे कि आज मुझे इतना ऐसा लगा जिस जगह पे आज हम गए ना, ऐसी में मैंने ट्रैवल कुछ महीने पहले किया था गाड़ी में। सुबह हम 7 बजे गए थे, शाम को 9 बजे पहुँचे थे।
14 घंटे का सफ़र।
यस सर, बहुत मतलब ट्रैफिक भी थी और मतलब बहुत। और आज मैं टाइम देखूँ, मैं 1 घंटा, पूरा 1 घंटा लगा।
प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना था कश्मीर टू कन्याकुमारी एक होगा, तो आज होके रहेगा।
सर, मैं एक ही बात कहूँगा कि जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज जो ये ट्रेन चलाई है वंदे भारत, ये हमें सबसे बड़ा एक नायाब तोहफा दिया है हमारे जम्मू कश्मीर को।
The Chenab Railway Bridge inauguration comes just weeks after the horrific Pahalgam terror attack that shook the valley and claimed 26 lives. For many, this bridge is the government's strongest response. Development over destruction, triumph of tourism over terrorism, come what may. And with every train that crosses this bridge, a new chapter begins today for India. On 6th of June, you all may have seen how India created history. But behind this marvel, this engineering marvel, what really went behind? And the idea, the objective of the long form tonight is to get into the challenges of building this engineering marvel. Joining me is the Union Minister, sir. Thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. On the long form tonight, we have basically delved into how this was all made and how we have achieved a historic feat. But I want to get back to the history of it, how it all started. It got stuck for a bit, as I understand, and finally we have been able to achieve world's tallest bridge. How was that possible?
Construction of this bridge, Chenab Bridge, is basically a clear demonstration of strong willpower, focus on execution. Our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, when he took the responsibility in 2014, before that, a large and the most difficult part of this section, starting from Katra all the way to Banihal, that was the section which was kept pending by the previous governments.
Right.
The valley part was done, and this was the difficult part which was still to be done. Initially there were two alignments to be, out of the two, one had to be decided. So based on the technical feasibility, one alignment which is this alignment on which finally the line got built, that was selected. And when this entire area is basically seismic zone 5, and between the hills, when there is a steep kind of valley, then the wind speeds increase a lot.
Right.
It's Bernoulli's principle. So here the wind speeds can be as high as 150 kilometers per hour, like a cyclonic wind.
Okay.
So this entire structure had to be designed keeping in mind the seismic activity as well as the wind speeds which are there. Then comes the challenge of building the foundation. Now, being a young mountain, Himalayas,
right,
the foundation has to be designed in a very unique way. So the foundation is almost like a 9-story building out here, and the base of the foundation is like half a football field.
Okay.
That's the way it is done. Then there are anchors which go deep inside the deep inside the hill, both sides, so that the foundation remains stable.
Right.
Then came the overall design of the arch. Now, arch is a hollow tubular structure which is then filled with concrete.
Okay.
Then the challenges like, imagine getting all these equipment, all these.
I'm told that several of the villages today will actually benefit from the roads that have been created.
Exactly. More than 200 kilometers of roads were constructed to bring the material and machinery out here. So it was very challenging. Then this arch was built, and then on top of this, the entire deck was built.
Okay.
And now the bridge is complete. And so much of the construction was done using these cranes. This is one crane. This is crane 2. There is a long wire, you see.
Okay.
Rope you can see.
Okay.
So the equipment carrying machines, basically the crane moves on this, brings it down to the right place, and then puts it there. A lot of welding is done in situ, and it's very, very complex.
Minister, if I have to understand, what is that technology that we had to bring in, because this was a conglomeration that we brought in, expertise from other countries, Finland, Germany, these are few of the countries that their expertise was also brought in. What is it that we've experimented absolutely new? This kind of a civil engineering has not been experimented in other parts of the world. So what is it that you would like to tell the people who are watching tonight that we've been able to achieve, we've been able to bring on the table something completely new?
Two things. First is the Himalayan geotechnical characteristics.
Okay.
Using that, how do we design things? Second is a totally new Himalayan tunneling method.
Okay.
Now, when you build a tunnel, if the strata is very like a rock, very strong rock, solid rock, then it's very easy to do a tunnel. Then basically, because the entire force of the mountain is taken by the strata.
Right.
But if it is a soft strata, like what we find in Himalayan region, then the entire load of the mountain basically forces the tunnel to collapse.
Okay.
When the strata is soft, then it tends to move. So when we were doing all these tunnels, this entire project is like a tunnel, a bridge, a tunnel, a bridge, a tunnel, a bridge. That is the way it is. So for example, this Katra-Banihal section, out of the 111 kilometers, 97 kilometers is tunnels and 7 kilometers is bridges. So that is 104 kilometers, right?
It's a one of its kind, where the entire track that is going through a tunnel and a bridge format.
Correct. So we did a lot of innovations, and we created a Himalayan tunneling method in which basically how do we convert this soft soil into a harder rock kind of version. So we injected PU foam in it.
Okay.
PU is a plastic, polyurethane. That PU, once it gets inside the pores of the soft soil, it makes it very strong.
Okay.
It becomes almost like a rock. So for example, when you are doing a tunnel here, for example, let's take this surface.
Okay.
Now, if this is a soft soil, then if you do a tunnel, then it will try to collapse and there will be viscous water flow out there. But once you make it solid, then you can easily cut it and then you put the surface around it.
Okay.
So that's the way. So it's a very unique thing.
This actually also helps us in various of the tunnel projects that we are doing in the other parts of the country, and particularly the challenges that we have seen, say for instance in Uttarakhand.
In the Himalayan region, Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, then entire northeast, Sikkim. So all these areas have this technology now.
Can I now ask you that, was there a moment in this entire process that it was seen as there was a stumbling block, and perhaps for a moment you all felt that it's going to be one of the most challenging projects that you all have undertaken when this government came to power?
T33 was one of those, Tunnel 33,
right?
That basically crosses a fault. So that was a very difficult part of the entire thing, because almost like viscous material flowing out of it. It was hardly not even like rock, forget solid rock. So that was very, very difficult. It really was very challenging. Some of the best experts from our country as well as international experts have worked on it, and that is one. Second was there was a PIL, very unnecessary PIL, which kind of created a lot of, which wasted a couple of years, 3 years it wasted. So those were the things. But otherwise, overall, the direction of the project was, our Prime Minister's vision was very clear on it, and his determination to complete it was like rock solid, and his guidance was always that we must make sure that this benefits a very large section of people in Jammu and Kashmir. And the idea was to connect Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu and Srinagar with the all-weather continuous. So, for example, the trains which are designed for this, these are also very special trains. Now, when you run trains at high altitude and minus 15 degrees Celsius kind of temperatures and snow everywhere, then you require to design them in a very special way. The pipes have to be insulated in a particular way. Otherwise, water will freeze and expand, and then the pipes will blow. So you have to expand. You have to design the entire thing in a very special way. Then instead of cooling, most of the time you'll require heating in the train. Then the entire body also has to be designed in a very unique way, because you can't. When there's a low pressure around at higher altitudes, then the body design becomes very challenging.
Right.
So all those things were taken into consideration when we designed the Vande Bharats which are running on it and the other trains which are running on it.
I'll end this by asking you that powerful imagery that we saw yesterday, when the Prime Minister there waving the tricolour, sending across a message here. I want to ask you, what is it that the Prime Minister had to tell you, Minister, the moment he saw that this was finally completed, which was being touted as one of the biggest projects? You're taking away the isolation that the valley had faced for several years, put together because of the weather, etc. Today the valley would actually have the benefit of being available through the year. What is it that the Prime Minister had to tell you after the completion of the project?
It shows the resolve of the country. It shows the technical and engineering capabilities of our country, and it shows a very strong determination of our entire government where we want to make sure that the people of Kashmir, they get the benefits of India's development.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining us on this broadcast and helping us understand. I hope today we have been able to take you through the behind the scenes and why all of us should be proud of what we have achieved on 6th of June.
That's all that we could pack in this edition of the long form story. Hope you enjoyed as much as we enjoyed putting this together. We'll be back next week.